It's the Dublin Special Master.
Live and direct.
Breakfast with CubCamTV.
Trickstar Radio.
Good morning. Just gone at 3 minutes past 9 here, Trickstar Radio. We're back inside the building and we have a very special guest in for the interview hour, the section of the show where we look through conversations with different musical figures from around the UK and beyond, looking into what they're doing, the projects they're currently working on, and of course, getting into some interesting conversations about those things. Today, we're joined by a Brighton original, someone who has put a lot of time and effort into making Brighton the fantastic place that it is. Man like Bobby Brown's in the building. How you doing, sir?
My brother, yes, man, I'm blessed. Can't complain, bro.
It's awesome to see you, man, especially after what seems like such a busy time for yourself. Obviously, the last time we saw each other was up at the New Society Football Tournament, which was great fun. And we had a bit of a conversation on the Brighton special you did. You sent me over a really cool voice note talking about Brighton as a scene. So I thought, let's get you on. Let's have a bit of a conversation and a bit of a catch-up. So how have things been, mate? 'Cause it looks like it looks crazy, I've got to say.
Yeah, it has been crazy. I mean, from September in particular, touring with Frank and Harv was a real special moment, I think, particularly after the last 18 months we've had, to get back and be doing live shows at the sort of scale that they are doing now, particularly with the sort of emotional intensity that was felt around these shows.
Of course.
Having, being rescheduled 3 times and, featuring a lot of music that really took them up a level over the lockdown, the pandemics, I think. So yeah, many factors at play, but that felt like a real sort of intense, special period, which I'm still just recovering from now.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. I can imagine.
So yeah, 9 dates around the UK. Kentish Town Forum in London, which was a 2,000 plus capacity show, a real big stage show. With the production and all of that sort of stuff that we were able to bring in. And still keeping it, very much a family unit and an independent team.
Yeah, of course.
It's something I'm personally really proud of, and it still hasn't peaked either. That's the exciting thing.
From a kind of outside perspective, when we kind of see these shows with Frank and Harv, I see you and I see Jacob running around a lot of the time as well. It's almost like getting a little slice of Brighton, but but away from home. It definitely feels like that's what is kind of showcased a lot of the time when people go to the shows.
Absolutely that, and it is even Miles, right? Our brother Miles, kind of getting him along to the London show. Like Miles is one of the best photographers in the game, I think. But just at that night, having so many Brighton heads around professionally, working.
It's not like you're coming along for a ride here. You're involved.
Exactly.
I trust you to get this job done properly.
Exactly, and I trust you to execute. And you've developed your skills and your ability to a level that now can put on a show of this scale and have such a positive impact on everyone in the room. And again, some of the messages that I got after from the people that worked it, but also the kind of paying customers were really sort of overwhelming and quite intense at points, but yeah, for all the right reasons.
Amazing, man.
So.
I mean, this is what I always find so interesting about you, man. You're involved in so many different things. You've been working away in this industry for a long period of time. You've kind of gone here and there. You've done different things. One of which is, of course, the New Society, which is almost like the sort of central bedrock of what's going on, I feel, at the moment for yourself. We had a football tournament quite recently, and I really want to talk about this because it's something that I know everyone on the day really enjoyed. I enjoyed it. My team came last, and I really enjoyed the entire day.
Yeah. Well, I think it wasn't so much about the winning, it was the taking part. As much as
as much as I hate that cliche.
Yeah, exactly. It's such a cliche saying, but it really was. And again, I think part of the reason is that we've not been able to, commune, I suppose, for so long and in such a, I suppose, healthy, positive way. I think that was another aspect of it. Is like, no one was like drinking and partying. We were drinking the aqua packs and like playing football with each other and running rhythms. Like, it was a really nice community day. And I think, a big part of what I do is about community.
Of course.
You know what I mean? And it is producing events that can pull people together and we can have moments of celebration and joy together. That's a big part of what kind of pushes me and a part of what I feel is like my purpose, I suppose, to pull people together, to produce events of quality, a high standard, raise the standard. And everyone can take part and enjoy it. It's not about me, it's about the people and the community, essentially, So, that was it. The football tournament was a great success. Still to get the footage out. The footage
I was going to say, Freddie was asking me the other day.
I had an issue with my laptop literally just before we went away on tour, so my laptop had to go into the Apple store. But yeah, the footage is to come, and there's some brilliant moments in there as well. And it's something we're going to try and do annually. Possibly do an indoor one as well. I've been struggling to find a location for that, but yeah, we're working on, I suppose, some more events that kind of really bring the community together.
100%.
I
mean, when we did the something I was saying when we did the Brighton special on this show and really just tried to showcase as many Brighton heads as possible, it was very much inspired by that event that was put on, and I think it is something that is so kind of crucial to, I feel, elevating the city in a way that isn't just internal. When people see these things going on inside the city from outside the city, they see, oh my word, there's something very special going on there. He's a singer, he's a producer, he makes clothes, and yet they're all doing this tournament. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
there's a proper cool kind of idea of bringing everyone together on it.
Yeah, and I suppose, I think we've always spoken about a scene, right? And for me, like, I haven't necessarily felt, or I suppose I've recognised the potential of that scene. Do you know what I mean? And where it can grow to and where it can get to, where you can compare it, healthily, I suppose, to other areas and how other cultures and scenes have cultivated. And I think, we're in a really, I don't know, exciting, daunting, fear of unknown, I suppose. But, for me, we're in a really exciting time with the potential to create a lot of new models and new infrastructure, right? And for me, it's people like yourself, Cub, that are at the forefront, are so proactive in these things. And spaces are really important, and spaces for people to congregate and ideas to discuss together collectively in action. I think now is the time to really start to test these new models and infrastructures and sort of really try and revive that sense of community and scene, I suppose.
100%, man. I mean, this is something you've been involved in for a hot minute. Like, whenever we speak, you're always talking about like different sort of like funding meetings and things you've been in and stuff like that. How long have you been working on, not necessarily New Society, but this idea of kind of community growth to an extent?
Yeah, I think the New Society, I've been sort of testing the idea in that space, I suppose, since like 2017 and 18, but it has really intensified over the last year, almost like strangely, because like, this whole new normal, build back better stuff and all of that, and then me, promoting the New Society feels like a little bit strange, but I think, the concept of it, like you said, is about funding creativity, funding community, funding grassroots talent, building infrastructure around that talent so it can thrive, a creative economy. I think Brighton is always credited with being so creative and having so much talent down here, but I think you and I know that there isn't the infrastructure to support that. Definitely. And sustain that to its most efficient level.
100%.
And we grew up in youth clubs, right? And I think
which aren't there anymore.
They're not there anymore.
Quite literally not there anymore.
And they were part of that creative infrastructure and that talent development pool, which, from my perspective, it just doesn't exist anymore, and that's quite worrying for me. I think I'm a big picture thinker. I think, quite far ahead into the future. So I already see through a lot of my youth and community work the impact of that. But I think, my mission at the moment is to try and, create new spaces, new infrastructure, new models to sustain what we know, can be so great.
It's very much doable. It's just a case of having it's not even necessarily having the tools. It's having, as you say, the spaces, and it's having I suppose the freedom to use those spaces more than anything else.
Absolutely, right? A lot of these spaces are sort of bound by red tape and restriction, and we don't necessarily have any ownership over these spaces. Whereas I think, our generation and beneath, we're a really exciting generation.
Of course.
Right? Doing things like the radio setup, and we can move it about, and, we're so much more efficient. We're so much more, technologically advanced. I think as well as that, not necessarily just advanced, but sort of willing to get involved with tech as it grows. Like, we're very much on the thing of this new thing's happened, let's see how we can get it into what we're doing. Absolutely, and I think, even over the lockdowns, right, with like the Zoom boom and all of that sort of stuff.
What people call it,
the Zoom boom. But
that's amazing.
Yeah, the Zoom boom has it's further shown that technology can enhance productivity, and we can actually gain a lot of freedoms if we utilise it to the best of its ability. We don't always have to travel for a meeting or be in the office, and I think it's about finding the balance between real life connection and the online interconnectivity of everyone.
100%.
You know?
And I feel that's a balance that almost scares a lot of people to an extent. People say it's like, I don't want to spend my life in a box, but it's all about balance. And I think especially a lot of the things we're talking about here, community in a sense, is all about balance and making sure, obviously there are things in place to stop bad things happening, but there is also a lot of freedom to make the good things happen at the same time. You know
Absolutely.
Well, this is, I always enjoy having these conversations, man. It is always an absolute pleasure to have you on the show as well. We are going to jump into a tune from Frankie Stew and Harvey Gunn next, which is one of the more recent ones. It goes by the name Congratulations. This looks like it's done absolute bits across the internet. Yeah,
man. This sort of garage vibe that they sit in this pocket really well, man. So yeah, it's done well, this one.
Awesome stuff. We're going to jump into this one, and then we are going to get into the Club Tombola, which I'm very excited for. We're going to run through Rob's ideal club scenario. We're going to see what we come up with. It should be good. I always enjoy doing this because we always end up with some very, very bizarre scenarios. I think Yaron ended up at a skate park in shorts listening to Burial at one point. But there you know. You never know where we're going to end up with this. 13 minutes past 9 here on Trickstar Radio. Keep it locked and don't go anywhere.
Roll up, it's time for Club Tombola!
Most ridiculous jingle of all time. We are into the Club Tombola. Man like Bobby Brown is in the building, and we are going to do the Club Tombola for yourself. So it's very simple how this works. We're going to get 5 spins of the wheel. I've got a little spinny wheel in front of me that has 21 questions on it. And you answer these questions as quickly as you can, and this will describe your perfect event scenario.
All right,
okay?
quick fire,
Let's go,
cool.
let's go. The first one is spinning, and we're going to get into the first question now. So, what is the pre-drink location for this event?
Oh, it's going to be down at the studio, the Dream Factory.
Yeah,
down at the Dream Factory Bottega Rooms. Yeah, that's
Studio.
the pre-drink spot.
That's the pre-drink spot. Okay. And the wheel is now spinning again. This is looking good. The second question on the selection is this event in the summer or the winter?
Oh, summer vibes.
Summer.
Yeah,
Cool.
Absolutely.
And moving on to the next one. If this wants to spin, this is always a little bit long waiting for this thing to spin, but we're good. So, Dream Factory pre-drinks in the summer. Question number 3. What country is the rave in?
We're gonna go England.
We're gonna go England.
Yeah, just to keep it.
Otherwise, you've got a bit of a way to go from the Dream Factory.
Exactly.
After the pre-drinks, you might be in the mud a little bit.
Yeah.
Question number 4. What is the genre of the event?
Genre, I'm gonna go dancehall.
Dancehall,
Afro beats, Yeah.
This is sounding very, very enjoyable. I'm liking the sound of this. And then the final question on this spinner for Bobby Brown's perfect rave environment. 1 DJ and 1 MC to play.
All right. This is tough. This is really, really tough.
This is the first time anyone's got this question as well.
Okay, one DJ and 1 MC. I might do something mad, like get Frisco.
Okay.
To do something with Spinel or something like that.
Okay.
Just somewhere a
cultural clash that makes sense.
A cultural clash that makes sense to me anyway, in my head.
There we go. We've got our perfect rave environment. So should we run through it? Let's go. So we're going to kick off in the summer somewhere in England, presumably Brighton, because we are going to be pre-drinking at the Dream Factory studio down at the Bottega Rooms. The rave we are going to is a dancehall and Afrobeat event headlined by Frisco on mic with Spinel on the 1s and 2s. I think that sounds like a good laugh, to be honest. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
I've had some weirder ones on here, I've got to say.
Yeah. No, I'll run with that. I'll run with that. I think that'll be a good one.
There we go. That's the Club Tombola. Good stuff. Right, moving forward then. Let's talk about the future for yourself, because I know you're a busy guy. I know you've always got things popping. You've always got things bubbling away. So what's the kind of next thing that you're working on? Obviously, you've just come back off tour. I'm assuming there's a bit of sort of rest and recuperation time to take place. Get the creative cell, give the creative cells some sort of some energy and some revitalization.
Absolutely.
But what's the sort of rest of the year looking like for you, shall we say?
The rest of the year, again, we've got another single with Frank and Harv. We've just put some vinyls up, and we're kind of just preparing for the next tour next year. To be honest with you, it's all about
straight into the next tour.
Yeah, next summer we'll go away, kind of June time. It's looking like. it's about setting up for next year now, really. You know, trying to, again, I think the things we're trying to achieve at the scale we're trying to achieve do take some, you know,
of course,
some
yeah,
significant
yeah.
preparation.
Of course.
So it's about setting up for next year, bigger and better. Again, developing the infrastructure down here, working out how to develop that, how to fund that, you know, and yeah, further kind of put pressure on the powers that be, I suppose, to try and free it up and, you know, allow us a bit more freedom of spaces and give a bit more ownership to the creative community and, you know, try and empower the creative community a little bit more is always what I'm focused on, really, particularly from a sort of youth perspective, you know.
Fantastic. Well, I mean, this is something that always will benefit a city like Brighton, which, as you say, is such a creative hub, but not necessarily with the spaces for that hub to advance in the way it should do. So I think this is something we all do kind of need to be working towards. Obviously, new single on the way. How are you finding these sort of sales with the vinyl stuff as well? Is that something that people buy into?
The Frank and Half fans are crazy for it. They absolutely love it. The vinyls fly off the shelves, the merch fly off the shelves. Like, we sold practically all of the merch on tour. It was crazy. Me and Jacob were working the merch stand at some points, and it was hectic. You know, so the fans go mad for it. And we've just, you know, sold what was it? Flowers in Your Room and The Morning, which are kind of, I think, about 5-6 years old now. So they've never been pressed onto vinyl.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's a bit of a catalogue release.
Yeah.
And people have been waiting for them for years. So we've had to get them out. And yeah, you know, it's a really good project. I'm really proud to be a part of, and it's working really well.
Awesome, man. And as always, I love seeing people flying that flag for what Brighton's doing around the UK and seeing it develop in the way that it has done, to the point where they are now. You see them on playlists for the majority of radio stations now. You see them. It's never like a surprise now when you see the boys do something well, which is always an absolute pleasure to see. So yeah, what's the rest of your week looking like then, sir?
The rest of my week, so yeah, got a few meetings this week, just kind of easing back into the workload, I suppose. There's another project I'm working on in partnership with the probation service, which is really interesting. Kind of creative arts project, getting people making music, making films, writing films. So that's a really interesting thing I'm doing kind of one day a week. But yeah, some quite interesting conversations and meetings about, again, infrastructure and how to rebuild back, I suppose. Yeah. There's awesome. A lot of that going on.
I love how involved you are with this stuff, man. It's always good to have a chat with you and find out kind of what's going on. Obviously, we'll stay up to date as soon as there's news. You know, we'll love to talk about it here on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure, Bobby. Thank you for coming through, and you're welcome back each and every time, man.
Yeah,
each and every time.
You,
there we go. We're going to jump into one more tune from Frank and Half. This one is Tears on My Window. It's a bit of a personal favourite of mine, featuring Eleni Drake. And then following that, we're going to jump into today's episode of the Dub Shack as we look back over the history of system culture and showcase it here on Breakfast. 22 minutes past 9 here. Keep it locked and don't go anywhere.
This is Breakfast with COVID, bringing you their morning flavours on Trickstar Radio.
Trickstar Radio.